transparency, and most importantly, lack of intelligence. No one's ever accused Trump of being dumb. Nobody smart has. But plenty of people have wondered about Pam Bondi's political IQ. And after this week, you should have no doubts she doesn't have any. So, I mean, this is the problem, is that those of us that are worried about this are voicing concerns, not because we don't want MAGA to succeed, not because we don't want Trump to succeed, it's because we do. And because this is, when I went ballistic, when Richard and I went ballistic on COVID, we knew the risk. And we were right, and all the critics were dead wrong. They can send their apologies courtesy of Eva Frog. I see somebody pointing out, we're an anti-Semitic channel now, Eva. So I've
defended Israel for years, Robert. You and I have defended Israel for years on What Are the Odds, on Inside the Numbers, on other people's, on television, on podcasts. We have been that's not even the right word. We have been solid, earnest defenders of Israel against the Palestinian cause. There is no doubt about that. There is countless hours of tape to prove that. But you can't allow any nation, it doesn't matter if it's Israel or Ukraine or any, to set the agenda for your country and to determine whether or not a party is or is not successful, or a presidency is or is not successful. Trump was not elected to make sure Iran didn't get nuclear weapons.
Exactly. To Richard's point, look at what happened at the Turning Point meeting this past weekend. These are all young normie conservatives, part of Charlie Kirk's Turning Point group, but they are driven by populism. And what happened when Tucker Carlson went up there and said the Epstein docs are being hidden, that's wrong, and he condemned it. And he said the reason they're hiding it is to protect Israel. The entire crowd cheered. It was one of the loudest cheers of the whole conference. This is what I've been trying to tell Mike Davis. Love him, great guy, does great work on legal work. He's pretending the Epstein docs have no significance. He's pretending, it's like, this is why you made the mistake on Amy Coney Barrett. God bless you, Mike. Is that because you didn't listen to what's happening in the rest of the course of public opinion. You didn't look at it holistically. Young people are not interested in us going off and dying for more stupid wars or wasting money on it. And they're not interested in covering up for career criminals, even if those career criminals implicate MI6, the CIA, and Israel. And let's be honest, that's the only reason to do what they did this week. The timing, the only explanation for the timing was Bibi coming on Monday. That's the only explanation for why they rushed this out on a Sunday where nobody could sign it. Now, I mean, I had doubts about the Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche. And now those doubts are at the top level. You thought this was a brilliant idea, Todd? You should just resign now, go back to corporate law work, because it's obviously the only thing you're good at. Because this was a disaster. At least Bongino, to his credit, whether he signed off or didn't, realized how this was being handled was a disaster and was saying, we need to fix it now. And instead, Bondi throws him under the bus. And then suddenly wakes up to at least a few of the cases that are out there. So it's, Leo, why would you not disclose anything? Why would you disclose no financial records, no videotapes, no travel logs, no itineraries, nothing of any of the associations? The only reason you would do that is if you're scared that it randomly impacts an intelligence agency. That you're like, we don't know who Mossad blackmailed or who they didn't. We don't, I bet Ratcliffe, I'm not becoming a fan of it at the moment. Steve Bannon has concerns. So do I. Did he share everything, as Mike Benz has pointed out? Did the CIA produce everything that they have on Epstein? Did the State Department? There is no way Epstein's name isn't all over State Department cables going back 40 years. You're talking about a guy that was involved in gun running on Iran-Contra, for crying out loud. Yeah. He helped facilitate the money. I have a hush-hush up at vivabarneslaw.locals.com about Robert Maxwell. If you understand Robert Maxwell, you understand Jeffrey Epstein. And if you understand that, you understand an honest reveal of the files will implicate the CIA, MI6, KGB, and Mossad. Definitely Mossad. That's whose prime ministers kept visiting this college dropout who nobody can explain how he became a billionaire. So Trump trying to gaslight us only makes him look like the idiot, him look like the phony, him look like the fraudster. I don't believe Trump is that. That's why he's got to reverse course. Appoint a special counsel to do everything Epstein related. Do somebody like Matt Gaetz, who's totally unafraid. And time to move on from Swampy Susie's recommendations. Time to move on from Pam Bondi. I mean, Kash Patel is redeemable. Dan Bongino is redeemable. Pam Bondi at this point is not. No one is ever going to trust her again. Hey, come in. Here, I got this huge portfolio of Epstein docs. And come, influencer, and go out. And let me destroy all your credibility because they're fake docs. They're docs that have always been public. I'm sorry. She's too big. She's too dumb to continue to be in a Trump White House that prides itself on intelligence and competence.
Like, I mean, yeah, go ahead.
I just to come to Barnes' defense. I had never the degree to which Barnes protected Israel or defended Israel back in the day, or calling him Jewish Zionist. I'm like, Barnes isn't even Jewish, and it was the first time I'd ever heard it. They said you don't have to be a Jew to be Jewish. So anybody calling Barnes an anti-Semite, you're an idiot. Anybody calling Barnes anti-Trump, you're an idiot. But I'm taking notes because I want to remember all of it.
But that's all they got, though. That's the thing, Dave. They can't answer any of the actual arguments. So they're sounding like Democrats. I had to reply before. I had a buddy who became an actor. I don't want to get into it. I don't want to get him in trouble. But, Will Wheaton had put together that Hollywood list for people all through Hollywood to block on social media. And I started realizing I'm blocked by John Cusack and John Favreau. Like, I don't know why these guys are blocking me. As it turns out, that's why, because that's what leftists do. They create lists. You now have Trump advisors posting on X. Maybe we should create a list of people that are fake MAGA influencers to block. I mean, this is what happens when you fail at replying to an argument. You are reduced to making accusations or to blocking or whatever it may be. Look, as a public opinion guy, which is, again, where I think I give the most value here, the people who are running around calling everybody anti-Semitic, you are not doing Israel, Netanyahu, any favors. You already have half of the country that is damn near anti-Semitic. It's growing like crazy on the left. The only ones you even had remotely left to defend them against those anti-Semites are people like Robert and I. And you're now, and by the way, who's the most negative on Israel and on Netanyahu on the right? Voters under 50. So keep it up. You're going to have nobody left to defend you, and everyone is going to sit back while your real enemies come for you, which is, by the way, what's going to happen to Pam Bondi. Did you see in Miami Herald a couple of days ago? Now, all of a sudden, they're digging up the connections with Pfizer and the corruption cases, the bribery cases with China and with Mexico. And, oh, by the way, who else was involved with that? Susie. So once they're done chipping away his real supporters in MAGA and they don't care anymore enough to come to his defense, then they're going to come. And they're not going to have people like Robert or I or anybody else who has been, honest brokers here. They're not going to have them rushing to their aid. So the wolves will come right through the door for them. So, second think this little strategy of theirs.
No, I keep thinking of the opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference. And I today, dealing with the barrage of stupid comments on Twitter, I'm half inclined to, okay, fine, I'll move on to something else, and you'll inherit what's going to happen regardless. And about the right acting like the left. It's an amazing thing. The left says everybody I don't like is Hitler. Right now, it's like everybody who criticizes Trump, they've made the decision. They're going to accuse them of being the pedo protectors. So the people who are objecting to the fact that this Epstein file seems to be getting covered up again, they're the ones saying, I'm not letting the pedo off the hook.
I'll put on the record. It is being covered up. It is being covered up. There's simply no doubt about it. Take no word from Alan Dershowitz, a strong Israeli defender, someone who was falsely accused of things connected to Epstein.
Yep.
Because of that, he had to litigate it. He said, one, there is a list. So Pam Bondi and Todd Blanche, when they say there's not a list, they are lying. I'm not going to tolerate this just because they're from the Trump administration. Sorry, no go. The second aspect of this is that he saw the list. He saw the list. He knows exactly what the list is and how many people are on it. So this idea that there isn't a list, that there's nothing we can put together.
They're equivocating about the definition of a list. I mean, that's what they're doing.
As you pointed out,
they're equivocating.
This was written by a lawyer to have legalese, to weasel out. This is terrible. There was nothing. It was a bunch of lies and fraud. That's why nobody would sign it. Todd Blanche's like, everybody, it's not even a tiny difference. Oh, really, Todd? Why didn't you sign it, you fraud? Why didn't you sign it? Just defending Trump doesn't give you immunity to come and lie to the American people to cover up for foreign governments and our own intelligence agencies committing massive crimes against the American people.
Let me read Todd Blanche's tweet, which was on Friday, and I replied to it. I think it
is right there.
I think it qualifies as a ratio. I got 700 retweets to his 2,500. He says, I worked closely with FBI Director Cash and FBI Bongino on the joint DOJ memo regarding the Epstein files. All of us signed off on the contents of the memo and the conclusions stated in the memo. The suggestion by anyone that there was any daylight between the FBI and DOJ leadership on this memo's composition and release is patently false. If Bongino ends up
Then why?
No, but if Bongino
ahead,
ends up actually walking out of the White House, that statement is a lie. I just said that, by the way, the problem is nobody signed off on it, literally.
Exactly. Literally. I mean, Blanche is just a liar. The statement is a lie. Everybody knows Epstein. So how did Epstein get all of his money? Why can't Todd Blanche explain that? So Todd, you reviewed the whole file, eh? You believe it? Come on our show and we'll do a little cross-examination. You won't hold up for 5 seconds. You won't even have the guts and the cojones to come on this show because you know what a lying fraud you are. I'm done with these people. You don't do this to the American people. They have put so much faith and hope in Trump as their last hope. They have given up on American politics, many of them. They think that they're liars and traitors who steal their jobs and kill their kids. And they're done with it. Trump promised to be different. This is not being different. This is being Jeb Bush. I didn't vote for Jeb Bush.
These people will be gone forever. I'm just going to say, if this keeps up, and honestly, I'm not even sure how you get some of them back that you've already lost. The biggest dips that we've seen so far are among black men who voted for Donald Trump, Hispanic men who voted for Donald Trump. I used to tell Robert all the time, just shocked by how many in the other category, right? Muslim, self-identified, religious, voters, just these voting blocks that you never see support a Republican candidate. Just blown away by this for years, Dave, leading up into going through the Republican primary. And by the way, while all of Ron DeSantis's pollsters called us fake and blah, blah, and lobbed all these accusations at us, totally right. These are the people that were always going to be the most difficult to keep. And the number one priority of the Trump administration, the Republican Party overall in total, was to keep these people and build on these people. They will disappear into the ether for forever. I mean, nothing's forever in politics, but they're not going to rise again for a Republican. They'll rise again for somebody on, the populist left, and they'll give them a chance 10 years from now. Just like, by the way, a lot of Ross Perot's old coalition voters did for Barack Obama when he came out of nowhere in 2008. So the major problem with people who think they're pundits and think they're political analysts and they know about all the numbers and the coalitions is that when they're looking in the mirror, they think the person that they see back in their own reflection is like everybody else, and that they can apply how they feel and they think to the and take those and make assumptions about how these other people think. Well, they supported Trump, they must think just like me on this. They must agree with me on this issue. They must see this as I see it. And that is completely wrong and completely erroneous. His coalition was several groups, and one of them is this loosely affiliated, very dejected group that had just been, like Robert just said, it's a miracle they even put their faith in him to begin with. Some of these people we spoke with, they haven't voted since they were in their young 20s when they believed in somebody once upon a time, and that day has long been past until this guy came along, or maybe it was today is an anniversary. Maybe it was the attempted assassination and it woke them up and they thought, you know what, this guy may really be a threat to this group of people, the ruling class who gets away with everything all the time. Well, our jobs are shipped overseas. Our kids are shipped overseas to go die in stupid wars. And whatever it may have been for that group of, that person individually, they put their faith in him. They put their trust in him. And it's not good enough to just do what you did last time. It's not good enough to just be better than the other Republicans, better than the Bush. That's not good enough for them because that's not what you told them you would be. And again, the biggest thing that, the theme of the weekend is, it doesn't matter who gets elected. So, these people droning on and on about winning the midterms, you have no prayer to win the midterms without these people. No prayer whatsoever. Yeah. I mean, they're living in a fantasy land, guys. If they think just carrying on like this is going to win them the midterms. I saw somebody, Kurt, and I like Kurt. Kurt Slick, he's nice. Guys, man, we've known each other for years. He's like, the only issue that's going to care is the only issue that people are going to care about in the midterms is the economy. Really, Kurt? Then why did you lose in Biden's midterm? You should have, by all accounts, stomped Democrats. You didn't because they have the high turnout coalition now. You have the low turnout coalition. And you can't afford to browbeat anybody. You can't. I mean, this is crazy. This who is crunching the numbers for these people, Robert? Like, These
well, we
clowns,
know
they're
some of these
clowns,
people.
bro. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
they're
over it
I mean,
too.
Chris Lasivita has always been a clown. I mean,
Come on,
that's the
bro.
kind of prick that would. By the way,
Two
he was a
plus
guy
two. What is
cheering.
it? 2 + 2. What is it?
Well, no,
Sorry.
that Chris Lasivita, for those that don't know, ran Trump's 2024 campaign, was heavily involved in making a lot of money off it. I don't know how much you can really give him credit for anything that took place.
Gonna get white women back?
Yeah, exactly. But the other, I mean, Chris Lasivita was cheering Trump's impeachment in his first term, right? And this guy is the one he's rewarding while attacking Thomas Massey. I mean, it's insane. But it's very simple. The core question is: will Trump drain the swamp, or will the